Welcome to Full Fashion Finish Strong Friday. Each week after this session, I hear from some of you, and I appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate the ideas you have and the things that you're going through. But this week, I actually got a testimonial from someone. This is a young lady I've known for about 4 years. Professionally, she's in sales, and she was excited to tell me that she had earned more than she'd ever earned in her life. A year ago, she'd written down the bodacious goal of $200,000 in annual income. If you haven't already, go back and watch my Double Down video from a couple of weeks ago. It will challenge you on doubling your income in 2014. But at the time she wrote down this goal, she had no earthly idea how she would do it. But she began, she continued, and she kept going. In spite of the normal trials and tribulations and challenges we all have in life and in sales, she fought through it. She endured and persevered. And by now you know the end of the story. And yes, she achieved just under $200,000 in annual income and was so excited to relay the testimony. Her excitement became contagious, and as we continued to talk and celebrate her victory and achievement, I told her that the one thing that separated her from others was staying power. I want to dedicate these next 2 Fridays to her, her achievement, and the transformative muscle of staying power. The pursuit of a goal only requires beginning. Achievement of that goal requires finishing. There are so many people that begin in the midst of starting out on a goal and they lose their focus. They lose their will. They lose their motivation and faith. And then they faint along the way. And it's those people that will never finish, but they began a good work and didn't complete it. So let's examine people in pursuit of a goal and why they don't achieve. Sometimes they don't have a compelling enough why. Losing weight to fit into an old dress for your cousin's wedding is a small why. Needing to lose weight to fit in the dress for your wedding in front of 500 onlookers is a big why. Some people don't allow themselves to make goals. Some don't understand the process, and some simply live their lives as accidental tourists. But some people try one time. And even if a big thing fails, they fall short and they give up. They don't have staying power. So there's one thing that separates those that begin and those that finish. It is the missing piece of your success puzzle. It is simply staying power. And that's what we're going to be looking at here over the next couple of sessions. And I want to dive deep into what it takes to maintain your will, to maintain your energy, and to maintain your focus and concentration. Very simply, staying power. So a rose by any other name. So when we talk about staying power, we could all come up with different names that we've heard in books or that we read or that we believe. We know that sales in life takes persistence, tenacity, perseverance, resolve, doggedness. One of my favorites, importunity, where you just continue and continue until you break through, determination. But when I look at all of these words, they fall short of what I believe it takes to have staying power to achieve your goal. So my favorite word is discipline. Now, most of us, when we hear the word discipline, like my children when they were growing up, they would tell you, discipline is when daddy spanks me. Now, yes, spare the rod, spoil the child, but at the same time, life is the same way. That if we don't engage in discipline, the rod hits us. But I have a different definition of discipline that I want to show you now. And I say that discipline is doing what it takes to get what you want, as long as it takes until you get what you want. That allows us to know that discipline is, as I like to call it, the freedom agent. Discipline, when engaged, can take you from one place to another. It can help you build a bridge to a world you never knew of. It can help you go from $60,000 a year to $100,000 a year to $200,000 a year and greater. As a testimonial to my friend, she's now engaged in higher and higher goals, because once you reach one goal and see that it's possible, it's time to evolve and move on. And speaking of evolution, I have a concept that I like to call the evolution to completion. Each human being is put on earth to do something special and to complete something that ends up being their destiny. But in the evolution to completion, there are several components. And the first ones I want to talk about this week, and we'll get into the others next week, are the 4 that lead up to staying power. And it begins with your thoughts. When you think about your life, where you are now, or like my friend that just made $200,000, how did I get here? Well, you can trace everything back in your life to thoughts. The thoughts you're thinking will generate the future of your life. So the thoughts you have today are the seeds of your life. Your thoughts are what made you what you are today. Your thoughts can be transformative and can turn you into what you will be tomorrow. Your thoughts are a photo of the future. So you should only take pictures that you want to see developed. Words are your thoughts expressed to give the world a piece of your mind. So when you think about the fundamental power of thoughts, then you've got to understand that as you begin to think on things, that your actions will also line up. So you've got your thoughts, then you've got your words, but then your actions do speak louder than words. You can tell someone if they're serious about doing something, if they're doing something. Most people know exactly what it is they need to do to accomplish their goals in life. I want to lose weight. You've got to eat less and move more, or some combination of both. I want to become wealthy. You've got to make more than you spend and save and invest and grow. So we know exactly what we need to do in order to get what we want out of life. What most people leave out is just to do it. The thoughts you think and the words you speak will equal the actions you take. Your thoughts must be of sufficient intensity to overcome the boundaries of action, such as fear or procrastination. If your thoughts and words are right, your actions will be right. Action has many benefits that propel you forward on your way to grand achievement. Action is also, as I like to call it, the acid test of faith. Action demonstrates an outward show of your belief in your mission, your calling. It truly separates those from those who are just talking. Action also demonstrates commitment to your goals and objectives. And the Bible says in the book of James that faith without corresponding work, action, is dead. It goes on to say, show me a man who is acting appropriately, and I will show you a man who has faith in what he's doing. Actions again speak louder than words, but actions can compress time. Have you ever got lost in work while you're doing something you love? The pursuit of goals gives supernatural energy to achieve them, giving the feeling of having more time or being more effective with the time that you actually have. And we all have 24 hours, but there are some people who, through being lazy, procrastination, always complain of never having enough time. But then there are others who use the energy of action to compress time, the precious commodity of time, and do more in 24 hours than others can fathom. Those are the achievers, like my friend. Thoughts take photos. Action turns on the television. Action fuels your imagination. When you first begin a series of actions, you're likely to dream of those actions over and over at night when you're in the car driving all of the time. And until you see yourself comfortable and in the throes of that activity, you begin to allow your mind to show you new ways to evolve into higher levels of success. Your action provides electricity to your thought, excitement to your thought, and to your visualizations. And then the more you act, the more vivid and the more real the imaginations, which lead you to higher ideals, higher approaches, higher strategy, higher tactics, and then you become more successful. So as we talk about that evolution, you've got your thoughts, your words, your actions, but then the thing that puts actions on automatic pilot are habits. Habits are actions on automatic pilot. Certainly action is powerful, but if it's not done consistently, your actions will not yield you the desired results. Action taken consistently equals a habit. Habits are the highest form of action because they do not require conscious thought to be engaged in. They become automatic. For most people, habits are destructive because they follow the path of least resistance. Smoking is easier than kicking the habit. Eating sweets is easier than eating healthy and exercising. Make no mistake, it will take proper habits to achieve your desired outcomes. Turning action into habits has so many benefits. But the first one is that it creates momentum. Habits are about 3 times more effective than sporadic action. For example, if working out at the gym is a sporadic action, you may only go 3 times a week, you may eat poorly, you may only do that every other week. But that's better than no action, but you will probably not achieve the body of your dreams doing it sporadically. But if working out becomes a daily habit that is not subject to the whims of scheduling dilemmas, and you know what I mean, then you go 5 days a week without fail. You eat properly. But then over time, and some psychologists say 18 days, I think it takes longer, you begin to form a sustainable automatic pilot habit. Now you are making weekly gains, and as you see the desired outcomes coming to pass, it spurs you to higher levels of activity in support of your goal. So habits also demonstrate a high level of commitment. If actions demonstrate commitment, then habits put commitment on steroids. And that's no pun intended. A positive habit is one in which the superconscious, the mind of God, gets involved with your life in terms of the continuity of action and your devout commitment to your objectives. It provides you with inspiration and revelation. Things you may not have noticed in your environment before all of a sudden jump out in support of your goals and your vision. You begin to truly believe you deserve success, and your self-imagery is consistent with your God-given gifts. And then it compresses time. So once a habit is formed, there is no longer conscious awareness of or thought of the activity. Your time passes so quickly that you actually begin to look forward to the activity. It's no longer arduous, and making that time move quickly. You even begin to look forward for every opportunity to engage in that behavior and that activity. But actions also it locks the channel. So thoughts create a photo, actions create a television, but habits lock in the channel. While sporadic action again turns it on by way of visualizations, the signal may still be fuzzy or inconsistent. There is likely an influential book gathering dust on your shelf, or someone that you need to talk to and network with. But as you begin to lock into the channel, you begin to see these details in clarity, with a lot more focus, and then all of a sudden you begin to see things in a way that can't be distorted. Habits demonstrate and create supreme focus. So let's go back to our definition of discipline again. Doing what it takes to get what you want, as long as it takes until you get what you want. So before we get into next week's session, I want to leave you with your mind some burning questions. How do you develop better habits? How do you get rid of bad habits? How do you engage the power of discipline, staying power, to achieve all of your most vital goals? Now next week, I'm going to show you on how to stop focusing on the fruits of your circumstances and begin dealing with the root causes. But until then, again, I celebrate my friend, her achievements, her accomplishments, and I know that if they're possible for her, they're possible for each one of you. So I invite you to come back next week as we get into part 2 of Staying Power. But until then, I wish you money, power, success.